Hey, I'm Jay Diamond. I'm a dating and love coach. I help women who are purpose driven, 35 plus, to clear deep, energetic love blocks so they can triple their dating confidence, ignite their feminine power, and naturally attract and keep their soulmate. So, this is all about ghosting. Why do people ghost? This is one of the big questions that comes up in my community, in my Facebook groups, and in my programs. Why do men ghost? What's it about? Some people in the beginning will say, what even is ghosting? I keep hearing about it. What does it mean? So, if maybe you're new to that term ghosting, it basically means that usually you've been having a really nice conversation with someone, maybe you've been dating for a while, maybe you've had a great time together, and all of a sudden, there's nothing. It's like they disappear, like Casper the Ghost. They're nowhere to be seen. They stop answering your messages. Maybe they even, if you were connected on social media, they disappear from social media. It's like this person never existed. Of course, when you've had a really nice time with someone dating, and the vibe seems to have been really good, it can really leave you wondering what the hell happened. And unfortunately, some of the women that I work with stay in their head about this for far too long, and it affects them moving forward in their dating life. They start to lose trust. And of course, I understand why that would be. So I want to just give you the top 5 reasons that men ghost, just to give you an idea of what could be going on. And so maybe just to put your mind at rest, or to maybe give you some closure, and then you can just move on and agree never to treat someone so poorly. So the biggest reason why people go ghost is avoidance of conflict. And by the way, women absolutely do this as well to men. And of course, if you're in a same sex relationship, all the same rules apply. Avoidance and conflict is the biggest piece here, because often things start brilliantly, partners have great time together, but sometimes people are not always truthful about where they're at and what they want. They'll say things that they don't mean. Um, Maybe they don't really want a relationship and they don't know how to say it. And so they don't want to get the backlash from you. Like maybe they led you to believe that there was going to be a relationship on the table. They were like, future focusing. They were talking about, oh, well, maybe we could go on holiday, or wouldn't it be wonderful if we went to this restaurant one day? And so you start, oh, okay, this guy's planning for the future, and he likes me, and things are going well, and all of a sudden nothing. And the thing is, they've changed their mind for whatever reason, but they don't have the emotional maturity to have a conversation with you about it, and they don't want to get into any back and forth. And so, just to make their own life easier and avoid any conflict or any backlash from you, they'll just ghost you instead, because they don't want to explain themselves. Maybe they don't know how to explain themselves. Maybe something's changed and they know you're not going to like it. And so it's literally just to avoid conflict and to make themselves more comfortable, rather than explaining anything to you or just giving you the courtesy of, listen, my feelings have changed, my circumstances have changed, I'm going to be moving on, I won't be contacting you anymore. Like, often, the thing is, a lot of people don't like to hear that, and they will argue against it, or they'll demand more of an explanation. They don't take it very well. And so, because of that, some people will just ghost you instead, and you'll never hear from them again. Now, another one is, reason two is, which is a bizarre one, is to protect your feelings. In their mind, they're protecting your feelings. Of course, in reality, you'd much rather somebody had a conversation with you like an adult. But when someone just goes missing, you start to think, well, what did I do wrong? And the mind can invent all of these stories. And actually, maybe you did nothing wrong at all. But there's often a make or break, let's say, period, that when you've been dating for a while, um, the questions start to come up, like, are we, what are we? Are we together? Are we exclusive? What's happening with this? Are we Are we heading somewhere? Is this just going to be like once a week forever? These kind of questions start to come up. And of course, if the person um, is not really interested in a relationship, or they're not interested in a relationship with you, that can be another reason why they ghost. And they think that they're protecting your feelings by not having to say that to you directly, that either, you know, I'm really not into you as much as I thought, or the sex isn't working, or I don't know, there could be any kind of reason, there could be no reason. I just don't feel like being in a relationship, and yeah, you're great, but it's just not for me. Like, rather than having that conversation and risk you being upset, so they think they're protecting your feelings by just not talking about it, which is probably the worst thing you can do to most of us ladies, is just to ignore the situation, because we kind of like to know what's going on, don't we? The third reason is that there's another woman. And so nobody likes to hear, I've been dating someone else, or, maybe you've both been dating other people, and I found someone that I like more, or that I'm more attracted to, or that I want to put all my energy into, and so I think we should break it off, or I'm not really interested in seeing you that much anymore. Nobody really wants to hear that. We might say that people say, I want the truth, but often they're not actually ready for hearing it. Of course, the person could just say, you know, I've actually met someone that lights me up, and I really feel like I want to pursue this. And so I'm going to be, cutting contact with you now. So sometimes it's because they have found someone else and they don't want to discuss it, they don't know how to explain it, they don't know how to say it. Maybe they've been dating a couple of people and they've been making you feel like it was just you. That happens a lot. And so they don't know how to explain that. And so rather than explaining it, they just ghost you. The next piece is that sometimes the person has got their own emotional issues going on. So, none of us are immune to difficulties. Sometimes there's mental health issues. Sometimes that mental health issue is a serious mental health issue. Sometimes that mental health issue is, something just like anxiety and depression. I say just, not to undermine it, but that, it's not like a huge diagnosis, but maybe they're in a period of depression. Maybe they have social anxiety, and that social anxiety is just getting too much, and the thought of having to try and explain that is just too overwhelming for them. So they just don't address it. And you do find this quite a lot with people who have social anxiety. They'll say yes to things, that they want to go to a place, they want to do something, they really want to take you out. And often in that moment they do. And then when the moment arrives, they're just not feeling good. They don't want to leave the house. They don't go, and then they just don't respond to messages. I've had friends like this that we've had to have conversations with. And it can really kill, a dating relationship, a budding relationship, when there's no communication. And sometimes this is why it really is nothing to do with you. They've got their own stuff going on. Sometimes a person can have a life issue. Suddenly a parent gets really ill. A family member has a life-threatening illness, or they themselves might have a chronic illness that flares up again, that they just don't want to get into a conversation about. And so rather than discussing that with you, they'll just kind of ghost and disappear, and just kind of quietly move on, because they've got a lot on the plate, you know. And then the last reason is setting boundaries. I mean, like this, setting a boundary. Setting a boundary is having a conversation with someone about, you know, what you desire and don't desire, and what behaviours, are okay for you and are not okay for you. Disappearing isn't setting a boundary, it's just disappearing. However, for some people, they don't know how to set boundaries healthily. So if you've done something that has pissed them off, or has really hurt their feelings, perhaps you've undermined them in some way, or ridiculed them, um, Or you might have just been having a laugh and having banter, and they've really taken it to heart. They're very overly sensitive about something. And rather than having a conversation and saying, hey, that's not okay, and I find that rude or upsetting, they've just never contacted you again. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps. Maybe this will give you some insight. I'm not making a judgment about what's right or what's wrong or what's good or what's bad, but just to give you some insight on why ghosting can happen. And if it does happen, don't stay in your head for too long trying to work it all out. It can really hold you back in the dating process. If you have a sneaky feeling that maybe you did something to hurt someone's feelings, learn from that and then move on. And take that learning, into your next connection, and don't do it again. Some people are just rude, some people are just emotionally immature, and just quite frankly just quite selfish, so you don't want to be around those people anyway. So see it as a good thing, like they removed themselves from your life. You don't want to be with someone who's emotionally immature. Move on to someone who is emotionally mature. Keep working on your own um, emotional intelligence and being the best woman that you can possibly be, and you'll soon find your love. We talk about, so I have a program called Cherished, and in there I teach you the vibe dating method to magnetize your dream man. And there's four big pieces that, with the women that I work with, it really works well for them when they use this five dating method, and it just halves the time for getting to soulmate. So I'll put the link to that in the chat box. You can have a look, maybe sign up for that program, and it will help you just like get through dating so much easier and just stop wasting time. Okay, bye for now.